Hello, YouTube. Today I'll be reading some Reddit stories that I found at 1 a.m. in the morning. It's just a little small grab bag, so I'm hoping you guys will enjoy. Just something for some background noise for some of y'all. Um, Without further ado, I'll just get to reading for the meantime. First story. Am I the asshole for giving water to my neighbor's dog during a heat wave? I, 20F, live in Canada. Recently, we've been undergoing a heat wave. 2 days ago, my neighbor's dog was outside on their porch that had been there for at least an hour. I felt bad for him. He was panting with his mouth open. I went closer to check it out and noticed he didn't even have a bowl of water nor food with him. Immediately, I wanted to take action and do something about the situation. I told my parents, and they both had very different thoughts. At first, I felt like anonymously calling animal services, but my mom told me it would be better to give him a bowl of water with ice in it. My dad told me to not do anything because it wasn't my business. I didn't feel like doing nothing about this, so I did what my mom told me to. At first, the dog was really happy to see me and didn't even notice the water, but a few seconds later, he started to drink the water very fast. I was going to leave when the door opened and my neighbor, about 35F, asked me what I was doing in a tone that wasn't inviting. I asked her, "Why are you leaving your dog outside with no water during a heat wave?" She then told me that the dog hadn't been out for a while, and I replied that he was at least out for an hour. She then told me that the dog wanted to be outside, and I answered that I didn't have a problem with him being outside, but the fact that it was 30 degrees Celsius and he had no water. She started telling me how he was well taken care of and that she was doing her best with the dog and her new baby. I said, "I understand. I just wanted to make sure that he was all right and gave him water." She said, "We don't need your help," and went back inside. I went home, and a few minutes later, she ringed at my door. I opened, smiled at her, and she immediately started talking. She told me she felt extremely insulted by what I did. I was shocked. She talked for a while, and I let her. She told me her dog was super well, or she told me her dog was super well taken care of. That he had 4 walks a day. He loved being outside, and that she had a baby. She felt super insulted that I insinuated she was a bad caregiver to her dog. She also told me she felt like I had invaded her privacy by looking inside her house. I did glance inside because I saw movement behind her that I assumed was her husband, but I never looked for more than 3 seconds inside her house. And a lot more that I didn't retain because it was just a lot. When I tried to explain myself, she kept cutting me off. I think she didn't take me seriously because I'm younger. So I tried to tell her that I didn't look inside, and she cut me off by saying, "Yes, you did," in a condescending way. I then told her that this conversation was going nowhere and that I wasn't going to waste any more of my energy on it, and she wasn't having it. So I brought my mom out because she wasn't listening to me. My mom mediated the situation. Ah, damn. My mom mediated the situation. Suddenly, the woman listened to the other who was talking to her and didn't cut her off. So, am I the asshole? Um, well, if I'm being honest, dude, it's that's a dog. That's a dog in the heat, and albeit 20 degrees Celsius. I mean, unfortunately, I'm an American, so 30 degrees Celsius is 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, that's pretty hot for outside. I mean, that's not including like humidity and like some other stuff. Albeit, I don't know a whole lot about weather, but 86 is pretty dang hot, especially if you're a dog. So honestly, you know what? Sure, even if it was like snooping because of the fact that she or yeah, if this person was looking into her neighbor's wind, like in her living room for like a little bit, um, it's not like she was like fully snooping. It's not like she had like a camera peering into like her house and be like, "Oh, what goodies you got in there." Her main concern was for the well-being of the animal. So she tried to get advice from her parents too. Like, I get the dad doing dad things of like, "Hey, look, man, I I do not want anything to do with this right now. So just leave it alone." It's like not my monkey, not my circus type of ordeal. But at the very least, the mom had like the right intuition of like, well, look, if you want to help out, ice, water, bare minimum that you can do. So, like, at the very least, she was taking care of the animal, and like, sure, I know, like, being a new mother is definitely overwhelming. Like, okay, obviously, I'm not a mom, but I feel like having a baby, maybe controversial opinion, but I feel like having a baby and it being a newborn, that's gonna take quite a bit of work. So, like, That's understandable, but at the same time, it's like, well, if she had this dog for a hot minute, she should also, be able to take care of that thing because I mean, that's a whole living creature, that's a whole ass animal, or that's a that's a whole animal right there, Um, but yeah, either way, definitely not the asshole. Let's check a couple of the comments to see if there's anything good. Yeah, so top comment right here that we got. It says, not the asshole, but next time you see the dog without water for more than an hour, I'd make that call to animal services. Your dad's wrong, by the way. It's appropriate to defend those who cannot defend themselves. If you see an animal or child being abused, it's inappropriate not to interfere. Leaving a dog on the balcony for over an hour is morally wrong and deserves intervention. So it's like, and then the next comment here says, I would add the elderly to vulnerable groups, which is, I mean, I heavily agree with all of that. I mean, I've never had to like call animal services, so don't have a whole lot of experience with that. But at the very least, from what this person knew about like what might be like morally right or morally wrong to do, I feel like by them taking the risk of potentially upsetting their neighbor, which I mean they did. At the very least, they were able to take care of an animal that it's if it was outside of the heat for that long, well, it needed some sort of help. So you know what? Overall, not the asshole. Um, definitely good call out there. This next story that I found says, "Am I the asshole for putting large bowls in the dishwasher? I have several autoimmune diseases that often make household chores difficult. Nonetheless, I work full time and clean nearly daily. My husband does a lot too. He grocery shops and handles cooking and garbage and lawn care, while I handle tasks like maintaining cleanliness, pet care, plant care, and home decor. I have the habit of putting large bowls from baking into the dishwasher. Sometimes they are my bowls, sometimes they're from him. But mixing bowls go in there because straight up hand washing is exhausting for me, and if I'm doing the dishes, I deserve to just take the easiest route. It is so hard to work full time with my body the way it is, let alone clean. I also run a side hustle as a cookie baker, so I make sure the kitchen is clean after I bake. And yes, the bowls end up in the dishwasher. What just absolutely grinds me is my husband will come home, open the dishwasher, see a bowl, and take it out and leave it on the counter. I'm like, hey, what gives? And he says it takes up too much dishwasher space and that we should hand wash it. I've explained the energy and illness thing, so he says he will hand wash it and proceeds to leave it there for 2 to 3 business days. This irks me to no end. I feel like I'm being told you suck at dishes while simultaneously having someone mess with my clean kitchen. He says he doesn't mean to and that he will get to it, but I say stop unloading things I've put in the dishwasher in the first place. We make over $200,000 combined and have no kids. We can afford to run the dishwasher more. Also to add, we pay for cleaners, with me paying 60/40 because I find scrubbing toilets, etc. too hard. So cleanliness is not a huge issue. I know I can't keep up with it, so I pay for help. But this is just a standoff thing that is driving me insane. So am I the asshole or should I let the bowls just sit there until he washes them? Alright. Honestly, I feel like this is a pretty straightforward one. This person is definitely not the asshole. Like, I feel like no matter what way you kind of like chalk it up to, I mean, one, they have like the $200,000 of like, like combined finances to like pay like both people to clean their house and also just like run the dishwasher, I'm pretty sure with like a lot of like modern dishwashers, it's like whenever you put dishes in there, you're supposed to have a little bit of grime in it with the dish soap that goes with it. So then like I believe like the enzymes or something kind of just work their way through it. So then that'd be perfectly fine. But also at the same time, it's like if they have all this money to run the dishwasher and they have a dishwasher, it's like, well, what are you guys using it for? I feel like some people that like move into like a new house and there's a dishwasher, but then it breaks after a while. And they don't end up using it. The title of this one is, Am I the Asshole for Causing a Scene on the First Family Vacation I've Been Invited on? I, 23F, live alone in Texas. I moved out during high school due to a strained relationship with my mom, 49F. Since 2021, my mom, sister, 17F, and brother, 8M, have gone on multiple vacations a year without me, claiming they couldn't afford to include me. This summer was supposed to be different. We planned a family trip to California, and after a very tough year, I was really looking forward to it. We stayed with my aunt's mother in law. On day two, we planned a road to Palm Springs. I sat in the front seat because my family knows I get severe motion sickness and light sensitivity in the back. My sister demanded the front seat, and when I politely refused, my mom ordered me to the back. When I didn't move, my mom got out of the car and threw a tantrum, yelling at me in the street. When we finally started driving, my mom screamed at me for 45 minutes straight. At my breaking point, I asked to be let out at a gas station to cry. After a few minutes, I walked outside and realized my mom had driven off and left me. She texted me repeatedly saying she wasn't coming back. She finally returned near 3 hours later, only to demand gas money. Heartbroken, I called a local friend who picked me up, and I stayed with her for the next 4 days. During that time, my aunt called me furious that I caused a scene at her mother-in-law's house. I explained that I stayed in the car to avoid a scene and told her my mom abandoned me, but she didn't care. She had already believed my mom's skewed version of events. We still had a Disney day trip planned. Wanting to salvage the vacation, I sucked it up and joined them. The day went smoothly and we returned to the mother-in-law's house. Exhausted, I took a nap. 2 hours later, my sister woke me up by packing her bags. She said she was going to her cousin's house. I got excited to go, only to find out I wasn't invited. As I watched her pack, I saw her put my swimsuit into her bag. I asked for it back, but she refused and walked away. I followed her, asking again for my property. I wasn't yelling. Suddenly, my aunt stormed in and snapped, "You can't yell in this house. This is the second time you've caused a problem, and your sister is leaving because she doesn't feel comfortable around you." I was blindsided. We hadn't even been arguing. My aunt kept ranting about how I made everyone tense and told me I needed to pack up and find somewhere else to stay. It is now 1 a.m. and I can't stop crying. I was so excited to connect with my family, but I feel completely unwanted. I don't understand why they invited me just to treat me like an outcast. Am I the asshole? Holy oh my god, this is a hot mess express, as some would say. Oh my goodness. Oh, I feel bad for this person. It's just it's just like the one train wreck after another. Oh lord, she's catching strays from everybody. I feel like, from her mom. She's catching strays from her aunt. She's catching strays from she's catching strays from her whole family. All right, so it makes sense why a lot of like the fact that she like has strained relationship with like her family. Like she feels like there's a lot of tension. It's like, yeah, I feel like after all that. Okay, I feel okay. The main part that really was like, okay, this is really out of pocket was the fact that um she got left at the gas station and was abandoned there, and then they came to pick her up. They just the fact that they abandoned her at a gas station and then they came back after 3 hours and then proclaimed, or like they were like, hey, give us gas money. I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's like swimsuit thing is sure, like that definitely does suck. And even if it's her property, it's like, okay, at the very least it's a swimsuit. So it's like, I'm not agreeing with her sister, but I'm just saying like, okay, it's a swimsuit, not the worst, but definitely I like me personally, I would be upset if like a family member was like, oh no, this, well, I guess for me as a guy, I'd be like, oh yeah, these swimming trunks are mine. But also I feel like as a guy, like like a swimming trunks, they're fairly cheap, so it's like it wouldn't be the end of the world. Like I'd still be like kind of like peeved because it's like, hey man, I went to Target or whatever to like go buy those swimming trunks, and now you just took them from me, boo hoo. But I feel like swimsuits are low key kind of expensive. Um, but no, that's so wild. Yeah, it's like they drove off and left her. Like she got out of the car to like cry outside for like like just to have a breather. And by the time she was like, all right, like maybe I'm assuming it was just like a few minutes, like you go in, go to the bathroom, you come back out, and then you're like, all right, I'm ready. I'm assuming it wasn't anything long. So the fact that it's like, like in my head, I'm imagining, she's crying, goes to the bathroom, cries in one of the stalls, comes out, calms herself down. Is like, all right, you know what? I'm going to thug it out. She goes back outside, and then she's just been abandoned. And then the fact that she herself is waiting there for 3 hours in like the middle of nowhere. Okay, maybe not the middle of nowhere because it's a gas station, but still, like it's still going to be a little bit of a journey to get to any big enough city to where you can like do something in. So no, this is absolutely wild. I feel so sorry for this girl. Oh lord. Okay, like I don't like. Obviously, she is not the asshole in any of like these parts, but like I feel like the big thing of being abandoned at a gas station, that would definitely be like a moment for me where I'd be like, you know, if a family member did that to me and then like told me, hey, you got to pay me gas money for coming back, like for you, I'd be at that point, I'd be like, you know what? Nah, you guys should have just kept on going. I would have paid for an Uber back home or something, you know, or like an Uber to like a bus station and then the bus station to back wherever I need to go, you know. All right, but let's let's see let's see if any of these comments are good. Let's see. First one. Well, you moved out to get away from all this drama. When people repeatedly show you who they are, you need to believe them. Go back to Texas, live a happy life without them, and keep your boundaries strong. If this were me, I would go no contact and be done with it. 5.8 thousand upvotes. Yes, I 1000% agree with this person. Hot damn. No, that's absolutely wild. But yeah, totally, like if there's ever like a situation where you got family members who are showing you their full colors. Like I feel like as a kid it's different, but as an adult, like this person, she says she's 23. Yeah, she's 23 years old, and they're treating her like this. It's like if you're being treated like this at 23, if you let these people take over you, like take over your life like that, dude, you're gonna be miserable by the time you're in your 30s and 40s. Like by the time you're like like you've been an adult for more than half of your life, you're gonna be like, holy crap, these people have literally just been controlling me this whole time. So it's like, yeah, no, sometimes you just gotta go no contact, you know. Um, Obviously, always try to find a way to like resolve differences, but no, if everybody, if it's literally just like a you versus everyone, then like, no, there's no salvation for that. I don't think so. Like, hot, hot, hot damn, you know, that's wild. That is absolutely wild. So for this next story, am I the asshole for snapping at teenagers at a 4th of July parade? All right. So my husband, 30M, and I, 30F, took our kids, 4 and 1, to a 4th of July parade. It's a popular parade that usually lasts over an hour, so we get there almost 2 hours early to get a good spot. My 1 year old took a nap while 4 year olds started making friends with the kids around us, including a pair of 4 year old twin girls. As the parade was starting, all the kids lined up on the curb to collect candy, and two teenage girls, 16 ish, who had just arrived, lined up with them. At first, I had no issue with this. I figured they're young and deserve some 4th of July fun too. But they started taking literally every piece of candy thrown. They were boxing out younger kids, dashing in dangerously close to floats, and stuffing their bags. After about 10 minutes, one of the twin girls next to us was crying because she didn't have a single piece of candy yet. My son had some because someone dropped a handful directly into his bag and he shared a couple pieces with her, but I was getting really annoyed. My husband was holding our baby and watching the parade, not paying attention to our candy drama. The final straw was when one of these girls stepped on my son's hand as he was reaching for a sucker and grabbed it from him. I snapped at her, "Hey, you are literally stealing candy from children. Get out of here." They gave me dirty looks, but they left. The parents of the twins nodded at me, but my husband thinks I was in the wrong. My husband thinks I should have let them be. He says we should have just watched the parade and brought our son some candy after. But I think collecting the candy at the parade is part of the fun. My son and, in my opinion, all the kids around us had a much better parade experience after they left. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Edit. My husband didn't realize they had stepped on my son's hand. He thought I was just yelling at them over candy. Also, my son is okay. I was furious when she stepped on him, but he completely forgot about his squished fingers once he was able to collect candy in peace with the other kiddos. Okay, yeah, no, this mom, bless her soul. This is a super mom right here. Definitely not the asshole. Like, for sure, not the asshole. It's like if you're taking like 4th of July should be like a little family event, you know. The fact that they're throwing out like candy for a bunch of people, like if I'm being honest, you know, it's like, hey, teenagers, if there's free food, aka like candy and stuff, they're gonna try to take advantage of it. So it's like, you know what, fair enough. Plus, also they're not quite adults yet, so they get a freebie to a degree. It's like they're still young, but also at the same time, if you're 16, you should know better than to like start drop kicking kids to like literally steal candy for them. Also, it makes a lot of sense, the fact that the husband just wasn't aware of what was going on. Cause yeah, like I'm about to say, like if somebody's husband were to be like, oh yeah, my son getting dropped kicked by a 16-year-old for some candy, no biggie. It's like, yeah, no, nah, that's not your husband anymore. That's your ex-husband now. It's very interesting, to say the least, that There's 16-year-olds out here willing to literally steal candy from babies because it was a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. I'm assuming the 4-year-old is the boy, because if they're able to like like talk and like be willing to share, and I can actually like grab candy and stuff, then they gotta have enough like mobility. So it's like oh yeah, if the dad, okay, yeah, never mind, I'm reading it. Yeah, the husband had the baby, so then it was the 1-year-old. So yeah, obviously the 4-year-old was in the crowd. My bad, guys. That's a my bad. Um, but yeah, no, honestly, I feel like she couldn't have handled it any better. The fact that she called out these these teenagers, who they're very close to being young adults. It's like, yeah, no, they're in the wrong. The fact that they're out here harassing other kids, swooping in to take all the candy. It's like, look, I got a sweet tooth just as much as the next guy, but I know damn well not to like go and grab all the damn candy from other people. Plus, also, I mean, like, what are you gonna do with all that damn candy? It's like, I feel like as you get older, like as a kid, you could probably like easily handle like like a whole pound of like Reese's Pieces or whatever, and you'd like be perfectly fine. Like you'd be bouncing off the walls. Sure, you would have one hell of a stomachache afterwards, but you'd bounce back from that. But I feel like once you're 16, if you eat too much candy, you might start being like, oh, hot. Like you might start regretting your actions real quick. By the by the third Reese's peanut butter cup, you're probably like, it's like it's still good, but like after a bit, it's like, oh my god, like it becomes so much. It's like, what are you doing with all that candy? Also, they're giving it out to the public. They shouldn't be doing all that. So either way, I'm glad for this mom for locking in and be like, nah, we're not having any of that. Also, the fact that there were twin girls too. Oh wait, no, the twin girls were crying. Jesus, I can't talk. The twin girls were crying. So yeah, that's probably fine. Yeah, I feel like everybody is pretty straightforward. I feel like whenever it comes to like messing with kids, I mean, hey, they're kids. If it's literally a 4-year-old, it's you gotta step up for them. You gotta defend them, make sure that they're doing well, because it's like they're literally they're tiny human beings. They deserve to be protected and have respect and have fun. They're so it's like the fact that they're 4 years old. Okay, 4-year-old versus two 16-year-olds. It's the 4-year-old literally has 1/4 of the experience of one of the 16-year-olds. It's like, okay, I feel like on a 16-year-old, like if you're a 16-year-old, you should know damn well. It's like, hey, maybe don't go crazy for the candy. Let the people who have barely been on this planet have some fun. Anyways, next story. Am I the asshole for refusing to change my name? Pretty solid title. All right, let's see where it goes. I, 33F, recently left my husband, and one of the things we're fighting about now is my last name. For some background, I have a PhD in computer science and work in academia. I've published papers, presented at conferences, reviewed research, and built a professional reputation that's tied to my legal name. When we got married, I did not want to change my last name. I wanted to keep my maiden name because all of my degrees and early publications were under it, and I knew changing names would make things more complicated professionally. My husband insisted it was a deal breaker. He said he couldn't marry someone who wouldn't take his name. I remember specifically explaining that my career would be tied to whatever name I used, and I still remember his response because it bothered me even then. He laughed and said something along the lines of, "That's good, then you won't be able to leave me over some stupid shit like dreaming I did something wrong." For context, I've been the primary earner throughout our marriage. My husband has mostly been unemployed. He's done things like Uber on and off using a car I bought, but I've paid the mortgage, bills, insurance, and pretty much everything else. I've now left him for reasons like that. The issue is that he now wants me to change my last name back immediately. Ironically, I'm refusing for exactly the reason I gave him years ago. Since getting married, I've published even more papers, supervised graduate students, received grants, and become known professionally under my married name. Changing it now would create confusion with citations, collaborators, students, and my professional identity. Plenty of academics keep the same name after divorce for exactly this reason. He's furious. He says I'm stealing his family name and damaging the reputation of his family by continuing to use it without staying in it. His family does have a history locally. Several older relatives were major landowners and business owners decades ago, so the surname is somewhat recognizable where we live. But my husband himself isn't a public figure, and neither are his parents or siblings, and they have mostly lost their wealth now due to gambling and bad decisions. I pointed out that he was the one who insisted I take the name despite knowing it would become attached to my career. He says that's different because we were married then, and now I'm quote unquote using his family's name without belonging to the family anymore. Yeah, I feel like this person is not the asshole. Okay. I feel like the husband has totally done this to himself. Like he shot himself in the foot several times. Okay. So it's like the guy is complaining at the very beginning, hey, you need to have my last name because we're gonna get married, and so then like you can't we can't divorce for some stupid shit. That's literally what he's saying. Like it's like, okay, that red flag right there, but all right, you guys got married, now they're divorced, and now that they're divorced, he's like, actually, I'm gonna have that name back. It's like you this guy was willing to die on a hill for a last name change, and now then he got what he wanted. He got what he wanted, and now that they're divorcing and he's wanting to get separated, now he's basically demanding her to change her last name again. And I feel like the really like, okay, regardless of her career and all that, it's up to the person if they even want to change their name back. Like if you guys get divorced, it's like, sure, there might be some weird feelings, but also it's like changing names costs quite a bit of money, and plus it takes a hot minute to do all that. So unless the person's putting up the money up front to change it, I don't see how you're gonna be like demand somebody to change a last name like that. But also the fact that she works in academia, like she's like, she's publishing papers, she's doing studies and research and a bunch of other stuff in computer science. There's like a lot of research going into this area. Like you need to stay consistent with your names because it leads to like future like career opportunities. If you're switching your name around, it then leads to some confusion of like, well, are you guys the same person because the names change up too much. So for just convenience sakes for her career, yeah, it totally makes sense that she would just want to leave her last name as is. So honestly, the fact that she literally like her argument is the exact same from back then and for now of like, hey, I don't want to change my last name because of my career. Honestly, this guy kind of deserves what like he dug his own grave with this one. It's yeah, he deserves it in the sense of like he demanded things to get changed because they were getting married. She was like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna hear you out, and she actually did it. And now that they're separated, now he wants to do the exact same thing. It's like, well, the first time you're able to get away with it because of the fact that, all right, we're forming a union now, we're getting married, so if we're gonna get married, then you should change your last name. And she put her concerns out, but no, the big guy didn't want to listen. And if he didn't listen the first time, then she was willing to compromise the first time. This time, yeah, no, she should not be doing that. Honestly, if I were her, I don't know if it would even be like financially the best decision, but just for like just for the hell of it, like maybe more so, maybe not like computer science, but like if you're a lawyer or something, I just go out of my way to like put a big billboard with like my with my last name of just like, yeah, there's a person that this last name that doesn't even really belong to me. Yeah, I'm putting on a big billboard for you to see now, so then I can have clients call me all the dang time. So nah, she's a girl boss. This is what she is. That's what my conclusion is. So the first comment up here. By the way, this thing has 9,000 upvotes. It's lol, no, not the asshole. Though a bit of an asshole to yourself for marrying this dude in the first place. Yeah, maybe the red flags could have been more prominent, but like, you live and you learn, so it's no biggie. But yeah, no, it's at least something, all right. But yeah, honestly, you know what? Good for her. She most definitely shouldn't have to change her last name because it's like, if you already got divorced from a person and then you're gonna change your last name just to appease them, it's like you don't even live with the person anymore. They just block them or something. I don't know. Just don't deal with them. I feel like that would be like the best of both worlds. Like that would be the best case scenario if possible. Now for the last story that I have, just because I had another one earlier in the video, but that one had a couple of spelling mistakes that as I was trying to read it, it kind of screwed myself over. So instead we're gonna go with this other story. Am I the asshole for locking my nephew out of my room with collectibles inside? I live alone. 2 weeks ago, my family came over for dinner. My parents, my brother, his wife, and their son, who's 11. I have a separate room where I keep my Lego sets, Funko figures, and a couple of other collectibles. To some people, it's just plastic, but some of these items are expensive, and some are already discontinued. I've been collecting them for years. My nephew caught a glimpse of the room out of the corner of his eye and asked if he could take a look. I said yes, but only with me after dinner. The reason is simple. He's not very careful and doesn't listen to what adults say. Even though I had explicitly ordered him not to, he had previously opened one of my Funko boxes at my house. My brother said at the time that he didn't know any better and he was simply just interested. So I locked the room and went back to the table. I think my nephew saw that because he got quieter, but he didn't say anything. After dinner, I took him to the room myself. I showed him figures in my collection. I also gave him a brand new Funko figure that I had just purchased but hadn't had a chance to store. I believe that everything was well. But the next day, my brother called and made a huge scene. He said that I had embarrassed his son by closing the door, that I didn't trust a youngster who was almost grown up, and that I was more concerned about plastic than the boy's mental health. I told him I didn't forbid him from looking at it. I just wanted to be there because these are my things in my house, and we had unpleasant precedents in the past. Now my brother says I turned an ordinary kid into a criminal, and our relationships are a bit tensed. Am I the asshole? I don't really feel like he's the asshole. Maybe this guy's like a little bit socially awkward. Maybe like at the worst, you know. Okay. This is just a me thing. I feel like Funko Pops have been out of the zeitgeist for a hot minute. But you know what? To each their own, you know. I mean, look, I'm not gonna yuck somebody else's yum. At least with like Funko Pops specifically. So it's like, all right, you know what? It's fine. You know, he can have his Funko Pops, and that's totally okay. But yeah, I guess if you have like other relatives that are coming over, and like, you know, those relatives have young children, you know, or yeah, the son's like the son's 11, so you know, the son's not even like super old or anything like that. Sure, he's older. Like he's older, but he's about to be like a teen, you know. Just about to hit adolescence, if you will. But anyways, if the guy knows that's like, all right, my nephew, he has a thing for like, you know, like obviously I feel like any kid, if they see a room full of collectibles, which are literally just toys, you know, it's like they're just toys, but you just keep them in the box for preservation. They're gonna be like, oh shoot, it's toys that haven't been opened yet, you know. Obviously, they're gonna want to mess around with that sort of stuff too. So if this guy, you know, he holds his collection near and dear to his heart, and he's had a previous experience where his nephew has gone in and like opened stuff whenever he's told him not to specifically, then it makes sense that he's like, okay, look, I know we're gonna be busy. Like he literally says that it's his parents, his brother, his brother's wife, so I guess his sister-in-law, and their son. So then it's himself, 2, 4, there's 6 of them. Okay, there's multiple people, so he's gonna be busy with the adults talking, and he's not gonna be able to keep an eye on his nephew. All right, so it makes sense that if in the past the son has gone to go open stuff, like the guy's collectibles, that he's gonna want to lock the room. So that's perfectly fine. Plus it's his house, you know, he can do that, you know, if he wants to display it, but it's like a no touchy rule. But also if there's a kid that, you know, he's still a kid, you know, 11's still really young, so it's like, you know, you might not fully grasp the like how much effort and stuff goes into like making a collection. He might not understand what it like really means for other adults and stuff like that, because he's just a kid, you know. He just wants to like look at the fun stuff. So he's gonna try to open it. So, you know, the guy, he's well within his right to be able to lock it up. Now the dad being able, like, coming out here and saying like, dude, you embarrassed my son by locking the door for not trusting my son. It's like, okay, look, it's the guy's house. Sure, should he like maybe trust the kid a little bit more? He could, I guess, but also at the same time, it's like, I mean, it's his collection too, so it's like, you know, like, plus I would totally get it if it's like, I feel like if the kid were younger, I feel like if the son were like 7 or 8, the dad would probably be more like, okay, you know, it's an 8-year-old. But now because he's like about to reach adolescence, it's like he's still not fully matured yet. That's still, you know, that's still somebody who's young. That's still an 11-year-old. Still got a lot to learn too. So it makes sense where this guy's coming from, but also the dad just being like, dude, you're ruining his mental health. You know, the power was just like, what about, like, it's like you're more concerned with plastic than the boy's mental health. It's like, I don't see how closing off a quote unquote like toy room from an 11-year-old boy is gonna ruin the boy's mental health. It's like, it could be worse. It could definitely be worse. It could be drugs. There's other things. There's other things that could be worse than just locking a door, like a door where there's poison. So it's like the fact that the dad is just popping off and be like, how dare you lock my son away from your Funko Pops? Like, all you care about is plastic. Um, yeah, nah. I think the dad. It's like, okay, dads are gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna try to defend for their sons too. But also at the same time, it's like, I feel like he's not the asshole with this. Maybe just a little bit of awkwardness around here, but I don't really feel like the guy is the asshole for locking the door on his nephew. I mean, at the very least, I mean, it still says that he was still willing to like show him some stuff. It was literally just like during dinner, you know? Yeah, it literally says like after dinner, I took him to the room myself and showed him the figures in my collection. So like the kids still got to see it, but it was just like during dinner time where it's like, all right, like we're just like, I'm not gonna give you free range too, because also, I mean, like, dude, do you know how pissed I would be if like somebody were to like come into my house, go to my collectible room, we're having dinner, they're like, all right, somebody says, oh, like the kid says, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. He goes to like the bathroom, but in reality, he goes to my collector's room, grabs a random thing, brings it back, and then starts starts using like an action figure to like scoop up his mashed potatoes. I'd be pretty livid, Or if like we're eating greasy food and instead of going to the bathroom first, he goes and just like greases just like iPad kid greasy finger, kind of just like smudging all like the tablet and like the glass. It's like they're just smudging up all your stuff. It's like, all right, you know what? It's not even that bad. The fact of the matter is, I think the kid felt a little bit embarrassed because maybe he's realized his mistakes of the past, of like, hey, the thing that I did in the past has now led to me currently not having unsupervised access to this room. So honestly, you know what? This guy, definitely not the asshole. The kid, he's not the asshole either. Like, he's not in the wrong. He's still only 11. The dad, I think the dad's just making it a little bit of a stink. I'm not gonna lie. But also, it's like, you're the dad. It's your job to, be there to, like, defend your son and all that. But also at the same time, it's like, there's the thing between, like defending your son, but also, like, realizing, hey, this is a learning opportunity. Like, all right, our past actions have consequences. I'm not even saying it's like a big thing. It's just like, you know what? It could be like a casual, like a small instance of cause and effect, like a good learning opportunity. Like, I don't feel like the brother had to pop off on the guy, but yeah. Other than that, you know what? Honestly, not a whole lot of assholes for this little first little grab bag of Reddit stories that I found online. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I just want to preface, this is my very first YouTube video that I've done just for like shits and gigs. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know down in the comments if you guys would be interested in more Reddit stories. I feel like I do enjoy reading some of these. I'm just going to have to do a little bit more research in the future, just to make sure that I can have some like good ones written down. Just because there was a few of them that I was getting my tongue all sorts of tied up while reading these. So I mean, for the most part, I've enjoyed this. If there's other content that you guys would like, I plan on doing like maybe like some power wash compilation videos, but I had some other videos in mind that I can put in the background for like background footage for you guys to like look at. Later on too, I could make other content. I was potentially maybe thinking about, if I do enough of these, maybe I can do some sort of like game with the Reddit stories. I was thinking about, there's the one like poetry for Neanderthals, I think. So I could do a whole, I don't know how good it would be, like how enjoyable it would be as an experience, but maybe like a whole like a challenge where it's like maybe I have to like, give my my thoughts on a situation using only one word, like one syllable words. Or I could do a thing where maybe I find not super controversial stories, but maybe some stories that are just like, oh, they're juicy, but then maybe I have to like flip a coin or like spin a wheel of like, all right, what stance do I have to take, of like, do I have to be really for the OP or do I have to be really against the OP? And then even if I screw myself over, maybe I just have to, like, maybe that could be a fun episode to watch too. Just seeing me squirm around of just like, maybe it's like, I obliterated 20 puppies for the heck of it. And then like I roll the wheel, and then it's like, all right, I got to defend the guy who obliterated 20 puppies for the heck of it. And then like I'm squirming in my chair of like, well, how the heck am I supposed to spin this around in the right way? Maybe not that intense, but those are just a few ideas that I have. So either way, if you guys are newer here, I appreciate you guys for sticking around to the end of the video. Hit that like button, hit the, like, type something in the comments, if you have a favorite cheese, say your favorite cheese, or just say cheese, I guess, like, or what's cheese in your native language. If I'm being honest, I'm just speaking in English, so I think I'm just gonna see a lot of cheese. And yeah, hit the subscribe button too. I feel like my main goal, honestly, is just if I could get enough subscribers to where I can DoorDash myself like a plate of of chips and queso from Chili's, that'd be pretty good. I feel like that'd be like maybe not my end goal, but I feel like that'd be my goal for the meantime. But either way, thank you guys much. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you guys really enjoy it, and see you guys in the next one.